What if you became a bee for one day? You wake up one morning, and something's off. You're not in your bed, you're not in your usual clothes. You look around, and everything seems bigger. You glance at your hands. No, wait. You don't have hands anymore. You've got pollen baskets. And wings. Lots of wings. You've turned into a bee. Great. First, you panic. How did this happen? You wonder. But before you can even think through it, you feel an overwhelming urge to buzz. You beat your wings experimentally, and with a strange sense of freedom, you're airborne. You rise above the ground and find yourself looking at the world from a bee's eye view. Colors are sharper, smells more intense, and you feel an incredible sense of power as you fly through the air. Sure, you're a little clumsy at first, but you catch on quickly. You're a bee, after all, and this is what you're built for. Your first mission is clear: pollination. You spot a field of flowers in the distance and head straight for them. The first few flowers are easy pickings. You land, collect the pollen with your legs, and then fly off to the next one. It's all going smoothly until you realize one very important thing. The world of a bee is not just flower fields and sunshine. It's dangerous out here. The first threat comes from above. A wasp. It zips by, looking as menacing as you'd expect a wasp to look. You've heard the stories. Wasps are notorious for being aggressive and territorial. You dodge just in time as the wasp buzzes by, narrowly missing you with a swipe of its stinger. You realize something. You're incredibly small, and the world is full of predators. In this tiny, buzzing world, danger is always around the corner. You quickly decide to stick to your mission. Pollinate and avoid unnecessary risks. You're just a worker bee after all, and your role is vital to the colony's survival. After a few hours, you've collected a fair amount of pollen. You return to the hive, a large, organized structure that's far more complex than you imagined. Inside, things are buzzing with activity. You've heard that in a healthy colony, there can be 20,000 to 60,000 bees, all working together to ensure the survival of the hive. As a worker bee, your role is simple but critical. Collect pollen, produce honey, and keep the hive alive. But now you realize it's not just your own survival at stake. It's the entire hive's. Every bee has a purpose, and each must contribute. You're not just a tiny insect, you're part of something huge. You take a moment to rest, only to be interrupted by the queen bee. She's lounging comfortably in the center of the hive, her abdomen swaying with the weight of her egg-laying duties. You can't help but feel a little jealous. She does nothing but lay eggs, yet she's the one who controls the colony. Unfair. But then you remember. Without her, there'd be no new bees, and the colony would die. Her job is just as important, or so you tell yourself as you go back to work. Hours pass, and your legs grow heavy with the weight of pollen. You've spent so much time collecting, you barely notice the dark clouds gathering overhead. The storm hits suddenly, and the once calm sky turns into a swirling dust storm. You're now caught in it, and visibility drops to almost nothing. You're alone, and for the first time, you feel the weight of your tiny existence. You can barely fly in the chaos, and everything around you feels hostile. But you have no choice. You're a bee, and you've got to get back to the hive. You fight through the wind, feeling every gust pushing you further away from safety. The storm seems endless, but after what feels like forever, you finally make it back. The storm passes, but the hive is damaged. You assess the situation. The solar panels that provide power to the hive's lighting are covered in dust, leaving much of the colony in darkness. You start helping repair the damage, gathering beeswax to cover the cracks, patching up the hive, doing whatever you can to make it habitable again. In the midst of all this chaos, you realize something profound. The hive is your home, and every part of it is vital to its survival. The workers, the drones, the queen, all working together day after day without question. It's exhausting, it's dangerous, but it's beautiful. You've learned to appreciate the value of teamwork, the delicate balance of nature, and how every bee has a role to play. After surviving the storm, you return to your routine: pollination, collecting nectar, and helping your colony produce honey. But the dangers never stop. You face threats from predators, unexpected weather, and the constant pressure of feeding the hive. But through it all, you never lose sight of your purpose. You've got a job to do, and you'll do it to the best of your ability, no matter the odds. As the day draws to a close, you realize you've learned more in one day as a bee than you ever could have imagined. The world seems bigger, more dangerous, but also more interconnected. You're not just a tiny creature flitting from flower to flower. You're a part of a massive network of life, and together, all the bees are making the world a better place. You might be small, but you're part of something much larger than yourself. The hive is a delicate ecosystem, and every bee matters. Finally, as the transformation wears off, you return to your human self. The buzzing fades, the world feels distant again, and you're left with a newfound appreciation for pollen, honey, and all those little bees that work so hard every day. You've learned something important. Never, ever sweat a bee. They're not just annoying insects, they're essential to life as we know it.